Welcome to A Dash of Therapy. I'm Dr. Samantha Bartram, a UK trained counselling psychologist and psychotherapist. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about anxiety, because this is such a big issue that affects so many people. It's very difficult to deal with and to live with, and sometimes people can feel quite out of control and unsettled. And of course, anxiety can then begin to mount as well as part of the struggle really with anxiety. And perhaps you might have a sense of, perhaps you're somebody who suffers with anxiety often, or you have a sense of your anxiety and what tends to be a trigger for that, and what's behind it, or you may not have any idea about why you're feeling anxious and what's going on. So there's a few things that you can do to just help ground yourself. Anxiety is usually future related, about things that fears about things that possibly could happen or might happen. So one of the best ways to try to tackle anxiety is to try and be present in the present moment, just to ground in the here and now, where actually everything is okay. Or there might be things in your life, of course, that aren't okay as well. And perhaps there's anxieties attached to that because there are things that aren't working or that are quite worrying or scary right now too. So, but what we really need to do is deactivate or down-regulate the sympathetic nervous system and activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system is essentially the calming part. That's the part that will kind of bring everything down to help you re-regulate, so that anxiety can reduce and come down a little bit. So there's a few different ways to do that. So if you're familiar with mindfulness techniques, you might know some of these, or if you're new to mindfulness, this is a technique that you can use. Also, it's worth looking into mindfulness and seeing if there's other techniques that might work better for you, because we're all different. I mean, one technique I like is simply just putting the hand here and just feeling that there, and that can really just help for some people, that can really just help ground. We call that in compassionate mindfulness soothing touch. So it could be you give yourself a hug like this, or just a hand on the arm, or hands on your lap even. But find something that is comforting and feels comforting. And here, if this feels okay for you, you could leave your hand here and then do some deep breaths. You can close your eyes, you can leave your eyes open, whatever feels okay. When you're trying to do those slow, deep breaths, you really want to focus on making them as soft as possible. You're not trying to force anything. And you're also trying to soften your belly. I really love that phrase, soft belly breathing. So you're trying to breathe into your lower abdomen and you're trying to make it as soft as possible. So you could keep one hand here, you could put one on your belly. You can't see it on the camera here, but you could put one hand on your belly as well while you're doing that, and just take some long, slow breaths. I like to do it in through the nose and out through the nose, because there's lots of health benefits from nose breathing that also are very good for you. But when you're breathing out, one of the most important tricks is to elongate the out breath. So you want to make that a little bit longer than the in breath, and that's parasympathetic activation essentially. That will activate the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's a nice little trick to help bring things down, to calm things down, to steady you a bit. So you can breathe in. I like to do 5 or 6 counts, maybe a little pause, and then really slowly out. It doesn't have to be breaths. Sometimes the breath isn't the best for some people. We get caught up in trying to control the breath, or it can feel unsteady or uneven. So it doesn't have to be the breath. It's an anchor. It's something a tool that you could use, but it could be other things. It could be fixing your gaze, for example, on something, and just really looking at it and really studying it and really examining it. If you're outdoors, it could just be going out in the fresh air and just really taking in nature. And that's a wonderful way to help bring things down. Just to really look at the plants, a blade of grass, and just to really take notice of what's around you. To listen, to hear, to see, to just absorb everything. So these are just a few things that could help. If you're really anxious and need to ground, even just having your feet planted on the ground here when you're sitting, or if you're standing. Sometimes I like to do one standing where, I try to lean forward, I try to lean backward, I try to lean side to side. Because you really have to be present, otherwise you're going to fall over. So that can be a really, really good one to try as well. So I hope there's a few things there. There's lots of techniques out there, and I will post more videos on anxiety because it is such a big issue that affects so many people. If you like this video and if they found some things in here helpful, please like. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, it would be wonderful if you would subscribe.